Hello from Bali. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about alternative medicine and let's start with the definition.
Alternative medicine, it's some kind of tricks which is used by folks all around the world during the ages, during the centuries. It could be, I don't know how to say, needle sticking.
Puncture, probably.
Puncture, yes, puncture. It could be even some part of voodoo. It could be chiromancy. It could be some other stuff with grass, with leaves, with roots, or even with body parts of some animals. And a lot of people, especially in Africa, they believe that some part of rats, of crocodiles, of elephants, of deer would help on some diseases or on some mental conditions.
Well, maybe I'll start with a slightly different question because it's something that I was always wondering, and maybe it's more like from the mathematical point of view. I was always curious, like how people would come up with the idea that certain part of the animal would actually help with something, because it should be like 1,000 of experiments, it should be like a statistics or whatever. Then it's probably like some sort of ironic question, but then another part is like how people figure this out and how people made to believe that certain things, certain rituals actually would have a specific effects on the health.
You know, Maxim, I don't know how to say this word, this kind of mushroom, which is red one with white dots. In Russian language, it's named muhamor. I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but there is, okay, if you know?
Probably makamar, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, but there is a Russian anecdote, something like this. Okay, how ancient people understand, could they eat muhamors or not? It's very easy. They will ask, oh, come on, friend, could you eat it? And if this person would stay alive, they will understand, oh, okay, it's eatable. If the person will die, they will say, what's a pity? And now we know that it is definitely not eatable. The same with body parts and so on. You know, for example, there are a lot of fairy tales, something like deer was hunted by people with great wound, and he then was fallen in dirty lake, and this healthy lake heals this animal and he will get it as new, and people understand that maybe this mud is very specific one. Or we found that this place on earth which has I don't know how to say, родник, source of water.
Source.
The source is very specific because monkeys which are live around will get healthier. By the way, now you stay at Bali, and if I'm not mistaken, I have been to source which has the longevity like 11 centuries, if I'm not mistaken. And people very carefully behave with those kinds of water. Third, sometimes something will have a bad smell. For example, I don't know how to say it in English, but I have been to such a city which name is Hot Key, in Russian горячий ключ. It's somewhere close to the Krasnodar, and this is a special place, and this is a special territory which even has a name, mineral waters area, and people drink this water despite this has a very good smell like a spoiled eggs. So there is 3 ways how to find is it useful. First, to observe behavior of animals. Second, to see what is happening around. Maybe trees is greener and flowers are blossoming much colorful. And third is if something smells very strange, maybe it could be applicable or inside or outside of our skin.
And maybe if we look at it from the practical point of view, because at a certain point of time, and I remember myself when I was like living in a small village, my grandfather actually told me, okay, like this part of, like herbal kind of a things you can, like apply to your body, or even, like something that I don't believe now, but I believed before, like you can pee on your wound and, like it could be like a healed or whatever, because at certain point of time, we might not be having an access to, I would say, like traditional methods, or we might not have like a medicine bag. So whether alternative medicine is relevant for that, or it's completely different, and it's mostly based on, you know, like cultural myth or like a religions or rituals.
You know, you named everything correctly, but I will add one more word. And also it could be based on superstitious. For example, I have been as a small boy, and suddenly my brother-in-law, it's okay to say brother, двоюродный брат,
Or cousin.
my cousin have some pain, and my grandma was making some very strange situation. He used special mop to clean all the room, and after this dirty water was applied to the part of the body of my cousin. And you know, it was completely unmedical. It was not clean procedure, but suddenly he was getting better. The same, you know, my mother also slightly going crazy, and sometimes uses inside of herself like full glass of olive oil or something like this, because he thinks it would help her to clean something inside of the body. And I don't know how those people know this, but if you're getting older, you maybe do not want to go to the polyclinic and to doctor, and then you will use something like this. Or second reason, for example, do you know if you will live in USA and you will ask of ambulance will come definitely together with police, and then you will have some tough conversation. Are you not able to wait until several days? For example, I stay in Moscow, and if I will call to ambulance, they will come in 20 minutes. It's very fast. But if I will stay, for example, let me remember, at least in Frankfurt, I have been living in Germany, sometime they will arrive after 20 or 26 hours. And it's quite understandable because they have not too much cars. So if you live in rural area, you have no access to medical facilities. So you have no choice. And you will go in to some very old ladies, and they will pick up some dry seasoning fruits, dry grass, to boil it, and they will ask you to drink. What is inside, nobody knows. But in 50% of cases, people will live. In other 50%, they will die, and no one cares.
And now we'll look into the part which is related probably to business. So let's say like when you're on a project, you know, like you're trying to troubleshoot like some hard of the things for some interesting people. They also maybe have not been so superstitious, but they might be like you giving you advices how you should treat your health, or like how you spend your time. And at a certain point of time, you might be asked to do something, or maybe join into some sort of, I would say, like a maintenance procedures that might be the part of the alternative medicine. So how you should be treating to that? Obviously there should be some sort of like level of respect, but then how you make sure you do it in a constructive way to keep your relationship with the customer and get the things done.
When I have been working in Africa, it was Northern Sudan, and I was working with tribe Nilots. Nilot, I don't know how to say Nilote. Nilots?
Nilots.
Nilots. They have very tribal way of life. They live on special houses, which are on the piles in the swamp. It's okay to say like this?
Piles or columns on the swamp.
Columns on the swamp. Yes, and at one point of time, I have huge pain in my back. It is because I am moving not enough, and I was flying a lot. So sometimes I couldn't unbend myself. It's okay to say?
Or like a stretch.
Stretch myself. Yes, and they were asking me to wait, and they asked several boys to catch a rat, and then from the leaf rat, they take out from the spine, I don't know how to say, it's nerve which goes through the main bone, the body. And then the special person, I don't know what's name, something like priest, but African one, he make me bracelet from this very live nerve. And it was white, it was wet, and it was very unpleasant. But you know what's happened? After several hours, it was dry, and it was getting to take my hand in a very I don't know how to
Tight.
say, very tight way. And suddenly I feel that I have no pain in my back. I don't know how it's happened. I am not a believer, but anyway, it is work for me. And several years ago, I have been to Angola. It's another country. And also I have a friend of mine. He was страдал, suffering from some kind of malaria. And then we were going to some market and we take some special place and we were given very not pleasant smelling powder of some parts of the body of some animals, and he was take it like a powder with drink water, and also after several hours he was as new. And you know, it's very strange. I am a scientific person, and I always believe in just common medicine. But several times in my life, it was happening that we have no access to usual pills, to usual medicine, and we were using those traditional ones, and each time they helps.
Well, sometimes it's good to know all of the tools accessible. Then my last question will be how knowing about alternative medicine could help to make this world a better place.
I will give you an example. When I was in China, I have been there like 10 times. I was trying to учиться,
Learn.
to learn how to use this puncture. And it was one situation in my life when my neighbor was in some pain. We were, I couldn't remember, we were in Kuala Lumpur or something like this. And then I was taken from the restaurant, those toothpicks, not needles, but just toothpicks. And I put 3 of them on his leg. He was screaming and he was not happy. But suddenly, after maybe 20 minutes, he was eager even to dance. And he was so thankful to me. And for me, it was like a point of no return. Yes, I do not believe in this puncture. Yes, I was trying to learn. It's just for fun. But sometime now I use the same methods. I use just those toothpicks to put to my mother, to my wife, or to my friends. And each time it helps. I don't know, maybe it's kind of magician.
And we review the skill of alternative medicine and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.